Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I come with some not ideal news, but also some pretty good news. But we do need to start off with the less than ideal news, because unfortunately there have been some confirmations of product delays, which is honestly not ideal. According to the lovely Stephen Kent, he of Playscape Games, who does tend to be pretty good at this kind of stuff, it has been officially revealed that there are going to be delays to some products that are supposed to be released at the tail end of this year. And that is the Hooper V-Box, which was actually due to release very, very soon indeed, and the Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon V-Max boxes. Now, I should say, as it stands at the moment, these delays are UK only. I have not heard of them being extended anywhere else. These seem to be delays just happening in the UK. However, and this is extremely important, we've seen this movie before. Think back to the Fusion Strike pre-releases, as an example. They were delayed in the UK, and then it turned out they were delayed everywhere. I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that these products are going to be delayed everywhere. They might not. We don't know. What I am saying is, as it stands at the moment, it is a UK delay, but it could end up being a delay in other places. If you've got pre-orders in, it might be worth having a cheeky check with your local game store or whomever you've actually got your pre-order in with, because things do change. Now, the least sad for me, but the most impactful, is actually going to be Hooper V. Now, this is the box which is actually supposed to be coming out, well, on the 12th of November. So, depending on when you hear this, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe yesterday, really depends when this video actually goes live. But the point is, this is a good card. I put this on my top 20 list of Fusion Strike, and it came moderately high up. And the thing is, it's a card that is both Darkness and Psychic type. Why is that relevant? Because it hits a whole bunch of weakness. Like, as a Psychic type, you're hitting weakness on the Urshifu V Max, which is pretty good. And as a Darkness type, you're hitting weakness on stuff like Shadow Rider Calyrex, which is pretty good. And my point here is that actually, this is a card people are going to want to play. The attack is fine. It's not a particularly great attack. It's not a particularly bad attack. The attack is fine. But if you're hitting for weakness, the attack becomes really good. And because you're hitting for a bunch of weaknesses, I mean, you know, fill in the blanks there, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very relevant card. And it's seen some play, and it's going to see more play in the future. And it's actually out. But it's only out in Fusion Strike, and it's only out as a full art. Which means that the card is legal for tournament play at the same time all the other stuff from Fusion Strike is. Now, of course, Fusion Strike is not actually out until the 12th of November, so then you've got to actually wait until the legality happens. It's not immediate. But the point is, at the point where this card becomes legal, the only version of the card that is going to be legal is going to be the full art version of it. And yeah, that's not perfect, ladies and gentlemen, because that's going to be a bit expensive. It's also worth pointing out, of course, that the box will come with a code to play Hooper V online in PTCGO or Pokémon TCG Live when it goes live. And a lot of people use these codes to get access to these kind of cards. It is easier to just pick up a code for Hooper V than it is to actually try and trade for the full art with a much lower pull rate, which is the only version available online. Now, the good news is there are no big in-person tournaments happening before this comes out. It is Q1 next year that they are apparently coming out. So we've got a little bit of leeway here. It's not the end of the world. And like I say, the card is available. But we had this a little while ago. There was a Rayquaza, which came around as a secret rare in Dragons Exalted. And it was a very difficult card to pull, but it was also a legitimately playable card. And we had to wait about a month until Dragon Vault, the little mini set, came out, and then Rayquaza was everywhere and it would be fine. But it actually got reprinted a couple more times as well. But there was a period of time where the only version of that Rayquaza that was legal was actually the secret rare in Dragons Exalted, and that was, to be blunt, a little bit of a pain. Now, in terms of the Flareon, Jolteon and Vaporeon boxes, remember that these are the alternate art versions, so these cards are just readily available in Evolving Skies. In terms of tournaments, legality, etc., there are arguments that these are playable, especially the Jolteon, but it doesn't really matter because these cards are just in Evolving Skies and they're not just full arts or secret rares or any of that. They're going to be easier to find. For me, I'm just legitimately sad because I had these images of me sitting there on my sofa on Christmas, proper fire there, eating, Christmas food, drinking hot chocolate, wearing my Christmas jumper, admiring that wonderful Okacheke Flareon, and that dream is now gone. And that's a little bit sad. There's even a jumbo version, so we can appreciate it more. It is worth pointing out that the US and European versions of these boxes are actually different. US get an extra booster pack and a coin, which is kind of sad because it actually works out cheaper even with the extra stuff time you do the currency exchange. But that's all good. What it does mean is that because they are differently stocked, it means that they're going to be printed separately, most probably. So unless the delay is because of the actual promo cards, the likelihood is that it won't be affecting the US and North America because they are slightly different products. So they are delayed in the UK. Maybe they will end up being delayed other places. As it stands at the moment, we don't know. But the good news is this is being somewhat evened out by a bit of a restock. Because it turns out, and again, this information comes from the lovely Stephen Kent, who has been awesome at hooking us up with this information. Chilling Reign has just had a little bit of a restock. Chilling Reign is back. Chilling Reign is back in shops, at least in the UK. And again, I can't guarantee that this is going to be the case everywhere. But generally speaking, when restocks and reprints happen, they tend to not just happen one place. It tends to be a wider thing. And this is pretty important, of course, because Chilling Reign is not the most recent set. Chilling Reign is Sword and Shield 6. And we are either just had or just gearing up to the release of Fusion Strike, which is, of course, Sword and Shield 8. So with 6 months, 2 sets back at this stage, this is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. This means that these cards are going to be more available, both in terms of actually buying packs and boxes and all of that, but also getting the cards. So if you're looking at secret rares, I've actually got a Japanese and Portuguese version of the Okacheke Ice Rider V alternate art. For some reason, I still haven't actually gone and gotten myself an English version of it. If anyone's got one and wants to trade it to me, hit me up on Twitter @TheWassy. We'll work out a trade. That could be fun. But my point is, these cards are going to be more available. The price of both sealed product and singles is going to drop at least a little bit, at least temporarily. And this is an excellent, excellent thing. Cards being more available is good. And we know that Pokemon have been focusing on Evolving Skies because that is a very, very hype set. Evolutions and Rayquaza, that is a lot in there. And of course, Celebrations was a bit of a thing, I think is a slightly understated way to put it. And we know by now that, that the word is out. That set got printed. And I love it. We are still seeing that popping back up in the shops. We might do a little update on that in the not too distant future. But clearly Celebrations got printed a lot and most products. I know there's one or two that haven't. And it just keeps coming back and it is awesome. It won't last forever, but at least for now things are looking pretty nice. And of course, you've got Fusion Strike, which is the new set. So there's always that risk, that worry that some of the slightly older sets are going to be kind of left to the side as they get a bit less popular. So far, not happening for Chilling Reign. And also not happening for Evolving Skies. Now, we've not been given a date for Evolving Skies. Stephen Kent of Playscape Games has told us maybe in the next 2 weeks. But we do know it's coming. And I just mentioned Evolving Skies briefly a moment ago. That is the super hype set that's got the Evolutions in. And it's got Rayquaza in. and it's got a whole bunch of cool stuff, and it's a really good set in terms of playability. I mean, just in the evolutions, Leafeon has turned into a proper archetype, and Sylveon's turned into a proper archetype, and Jolteon's turned into a proper archetype, and there's probably others. I mean, Umbreon is probably the best of them. I mean, even just within the evolution, several of these have already been proven to be really good playable cards. So make no mistake about it, Evolving Skies is a very good set that is bringing us a whole bunch of cool cards. And that's even before we get into the collectability aspect of it. Because, yeah, a set that brings in so many of these hyper popular Pokemon and then gives a bunch of them alternate arts coming in as well. I mean, that is a set which is just going to be very sought after. If I had to guess, I would think Evolving Skies would keep being printed for a while because it is such a hype set. I don't have any insider information, but certainly, if we look at the 4 sets that comprise Year 2 of the Sword and Shield block, that being Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, and Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies is clearly number 1 in terms of hype, both for collectors and players, and that is pretty gosh darned important. So yeah, it's sad that those products are being delayed. I wish they weren't personally, because I was going to buy those Eevee ones as fast as I possibly could. But it's not the end of the world. We know that logistics, production, a huge amount of things are being impacted at the moment. It's all very sad. But we are getting restocks of some recent sets, which we weren't 100% convinced was going to happen. So that is at least some good news to balance it out. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know how excited you are for these products. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So go nuts in the comment section, would ya? But be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.